Hello friends, today we have two stories. Let's start today's first story. My name is John Paul. This story is very old, truly old, about 30 or 40 years ago. I can't recall the exact time because now I am 80 years old, but in those days I used to work in a big firm. The firm was doing quite well, and since it was relatively new, I often had to leave the city to attend meetings. Back then I must have been around 35 or 40 years old. So one day I had to go outside Wuhan for a meeting. The meeting was scheduled at 10 o'clock in the morning, so I left my house the previous night. At that time I didn't own a car, so my firm had hired a private vehicle for me. It was about a 4 or 5 hour journey. I sat in the car and told the driver, "I'll sleep in the back seat, so drive too fast." After about an hour and a half, maybe two, I began sweating and woke up. When I looked up, I was shocked. The driver was not in the car, yet the car was moving forward slowly on its own. Startled, I sat upright. When I looked behind, I saw the driver was outside, pushing the car from behind. I rolled down the window and asked, "Brother, what happened?" The driver replied, "Sir, the car suddenly broke down. You were in deep sleep, so I didn't want to wake you. That's why I'm pushing it ahead, hoping we'll reach some inhabited area." The moment he said inhabited area, I looked outside. My God, the road was completely deserted. No houses, no people, nothing. And there he was all alone, pushing the car in such a wild place. Told him to stop the car and I got out. "Are you crazy? Pushing the car all by yourself in such a desolate area?" He looked around calmly and said, "Oh sir, don't be afraid. We are used to roads like these. Please, you sit inside. We'll definitely find someone ahead." Back then there were no mobiles, no calling for help. No Google Maps, no torchlight from a phone. We had to manage with whatever we had. But for me, it was the first time being stuck in such a place where nothing was visible around. On both sides of the road were bushes, but otherwise it was pitch dark. So dark it felt like I had gone blind. I thought I should help the driver, so I joined him. Together, we pushed the car forward. The feeling was terrifying beyond words, darkness all around, with occasional sounds of wild animals. From the chill in the air, I could tell we were near or inside a forest. After pushing the car for a kilometer or so, I heard a growling sound. Being a city man, I got frightened very quickly. I asked the driver, Did you hear that sound?" He replied casually, "Oh sir, this is a jungle area. You'll hear such sounds every second here." I insisted, "No, you don't understand." But he repeated, "Sir, if you are scared, please sit in the car. We'll reach the city soon." I tried convincing myself it was just my imagination caused by fear. So I told him, "All right then, no problem. Let's keep pushing, it'll be faster that way." But within minutes, I heard that growl again. This time I didn't say anything. I didn't want him to think I was panicking unnecessarily. I kept pushing quietly. Then suddenly I realized it was no illusion. My eyes caught sight of something, two glowing eyes, green shining eyes like those of a ferocious beast. They glowed so brightly that even in that dense darkness, I could see them clearly. Terrified, I grabbed the driver's arm and said, "Driver, quick, get inside the car. There's something out there by the roadside. Some creature, its eyes are glowing and it's watching us. Hurry, let's lock ourselves in the car. Inside we'll be safe." But the driver refused to take me seriously. Instead, he reassured me, "Sir, why are you so worried? "Didn't I tell you? Just sit in the car, I'll handle this." Then he pulled out a gun from his jacket and said, "Look, sir, I even have this. Our company provides one to every driver for safety. So don't worry about me. Sit in the car, I'm used to such places." I was trembling because I had seen those eyes with my own eyes. They had vanished now, but I didn't want to take any risks. So I sat inside, rolled the windows up, and kept my eyes fixed on the darkness outside. It didn't take long to realize my fear was real. I saw those glowing eyes again, moving side to side as if focusing on prey. And that prey was either me or the driver. I shouted from inside, "Hey, listen, come into the car. We'll leave in the morning." But from behind he said, "Oh, sir, stop worrying. I must return the car by morning. Just stay inside, I'll handle this." As he said this, a loud growl pierced the air. In the blink of an eye, something lunged at him. I heard his scream, but before I could even react, the creature had dragged him into the bushes and vanished. Shaken, I quickly ducked under the seat. My heart was pounding. I didn't know if that thing was human or beast. A few moments later, I heard gunshots from within the forest. That gave me hope. The driver must have fired at it. Maybe he killed it. Maybe the danger was gone. I stayed hidden under the seat, waiting for him to return. But the silence that followed was even more terrifying. No footsteps, no growls, no voice, just silence. After a long while, I heard footsteps approaching, but they were heavy, like those of a giant beast stamping the ground. Slowly, I raised my head, peering through the glass. What I saw froze me in horror. At the roadside, there stood a figure. Its back was toward me. It was about 12 to 15 feet tall. Its body was human-like, but its movements were animalistic. My whole body trembled. Thinking it was better to try escaping than die waiting, I slipped to the front seat. The keys were still in the ignition. I tried starting the car quietly. But the creature heard the sound and turned around instantly. The sight was enough to make me stop breathing. It was the same monster. Its green eyes gleamed fiercely in the darkness, and in its mouth was a human head. It was chewing on it, my driver's head. I ducked down again, peeking carefully. The creature's body was human-like, face, arms, legs, but distorted. Huge ears, no nose, just 2 holes. Its long tongue licked both the skull and the car windows, leaving streaks. Its teeth were razor-sharp. It circled the car, sniffing, but perhaps the smell of petrol confused it. For a while it couldn't sense me, but then it saw me. The moment its eyes locked on me, it threw away the skull and began shaking the car violently. My hands and feet trembled uncontrollably. I shut my eyes and prayed. The beast grew angrier, growling louder, rocking the car harder until it toppled over. Glass shattered. Through the broken window, it saw me and roared with excitement as if laughing at its prey. It thrust its bloody, clawed hand inside, reaching for me. At that moment, I let out a scream, and everything went black. I fainted. When I regained consciousness, I was inside a police van. One officer told me, "Just lie down, sir. We're taking you to the hospital." I was too weak to even speak. The next day, when I was stable, the memory of that night returned, the devilish beast and the driver's mangled head. The police questioned me, and I told them everything. They said they too didn't know what that creature was. No one had ever survived its attack before. It was too fast, too terrifying, always changing its location, never staying in one place. That's why no one had ever managed to catch it. That night, the police had arrived just as it attacked me. They had seen it running into the jungle. Even now I wonder, where is that demonic beast? And who will be its next victim? Friends, my name is Yakub, and I'm from Tilcha. Today I want to tell you about an incident that shook me to my very core. Even today, whenever I remember it, my soul trembles. This story is about me and one of my friends, Katuko. This happened about 5 years ago when I was still in college. At that time, I lived in the college hostel. When the semester began, I met a boy named Katuko. He studied in our college too and lived in the same hostel, but strangely he had no friends. I always saw him alone, coming to college alone, leaving alone. Physically, he was thin and frail, very ordinary in appearance, but brilliant in studies. As far as I knew, he had no roommate. For some reason, he preferred living alone. Maybe he liked to study by himself, or maybe he was just reserved. My nature was the exact opposite. I was also good at studies, but I loved making friends, hanging out, talking with people. Still, since we lived in the same hostel, gradually we became good friends. He never spoke much to anyone else, only to me. Sometimes we'd eat together or walk to college together, but if another friend was with me, he'd keep his distance. 2 months passed like this. Then one day, the college announced holidays for a festival. I went home. Before leaving, Katuko took my phone number. A few days before college reopened, he called me. "Hi Yakub, tomorrow let's go back to college together. Can you pick me up at the station?" I said, "But college doesn't reopen for 2 more days." He replied, "Yes, but the exams start right after. I want to go early, get my notes and assignments done." I thought about it. Anyway, I wasn't studying at home, so it seemed like a good idea. Going early would reduce exam stress. I told him, "All right, no problem." My father booked us a taxi, and I went to the station to pick him up. We greeted each other, talked about our holidays. He said his break was fine, but nothing special. He always seemed so lonely. After chatting a while, we sat in the taxi. I told the driver to go faster. It was already late, and we had to reach the hostel before nightfall. After about 2 hours, we arrived. The hostel warden was at the gate. He said, "Yakub, Katuko, you've both returned so early? The rest of the students are coming only after 2 days." I said, "No problem, sir. We were bored at home and we also want to prepare for exams, so we came early." Inside, Katuko turned to me and said, "Yakub, I feel very scared when I'm alone. Can you stay in my room for a few days?" I smiled. I was about to say the same. "Until my roommates return, I'll stay with you. We can revise together and I won't feel bored." So we went straight to his room. But the moment I entered, I froze. His room looked strange. The walls had bizarre markings. Weird paintings hung everywhere. It felt eerie. Jokingly, I said, "Maybe this is why no one wants to be your friend. Your room is terrifying." But Katuko didn't reply. He just kept staring around the room. That night, after dinner, we sat with our books. We studied, discussed subjects, and talked casually. Somewhere in between, I fell asleep without realizing. When I woke up, it was around 2 a.m. I turned, and what I saw jolted me like electricity. Katuko was standing beside my bed. His eyes were completely white, and he was staring at me in a strange way. Terrified, I tried to speak, but before I could, he grabbed my throat. "Let me go! Let me go!" Though Katuko was thin and weak, that night he had inhuman strength. His grip was like iron. His white eyes glared straight at me. I didn't know whether this was Kituko or something else. I struggled, but he held me tightly. With all my strength, I finally shoved him hard. He fell to the floor. I rushed to the switch and turned on the light. What I saw left me trembling. Kituko was on his own bed, curled up like a child, fast asleep. His eyes were shut, but his breathing was heavy. Shaking, I went near him and whispered, "Kituko, Kituko." No answer. I began praying, chanting God's name. As I did, I heard a voice, "Yakub, please. In my bag there is a talisman. Bring it to me." I opened his bag, found the talisman, and placed it beside him. But now I was sure I didn't want to stay in that room. Quietly, I picked up my bag and headed for the door. Then suddenly, Kituko's voice came from behind. "Don't leave me alone, Yakub. I feel so scared in this room when I'm alone." I froze. Was it really Kituko speaking or something inside him? I said cautiously, "I know, Kituko. I'm just gonna call the warden," and I slipped out the door. His room was on the 5th floor, and the hostel lift was broken. I was about to take the stairs down when, from behind, Kituko grabbed me. "I told you not to leave me alone. You must stay with me tonight." His face, his voice, it shook me to my core. In fear, I opened the lift door and hid inside the dark, broken elevator. It had a wooden door, so I couldn't see outside, and I didn't want to. But even from there, I heard his voice for a long time. "Don't leave me alone, Yakub. Don't leave me alone." I locked myself in the lift the whole night, praying and waiting desperately for morning. At dawn, the warden came for his rounds. Hearing his voice, I opened the lift door and ran to my room. The warden followed, noticing how frightened I looked. I told him everything. The warden's face grew grave. "Yakub, what I'm about to tell you, I've never told any student before, because I don't want fear spreading in the hostel. But the truth is the room Kituko stays in. 10 years ago, a student committed suicide there. I believe it wasn't Kituko with you last night. It was that student. I had heard rumors about that room, but never believed them. After this incident, the warden permanently sealed that room and shifted Kituko to another one.